This call is now being recorded. This call is now being transcribed. Yes, ma'am, we are all set to go.
Start. Welcome, Manali. Then you give the mic then to Mr. Vinod Paul.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
this is a wonderful opportunity for all of us to learn about the Japanese art of storytelling, Kamishibai. And we have with us Ramya Srinidhi ji. So, thank you, ma'am, for joining us for this very interesting and intriguing lecture today. And I welcome you all on behalf of the Lotus and Chrysanthemum Trust. I now hand over the mic to Vinod Paul ji. Sir, the stage is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Today we gather here to immerse ourselves in the tradition that is both simple in its essence and extraordinary in its impact. A unique form of storytelling that originates from Japan known as Kamishibai. But before we dive into the rich cultural tapestry of this art form, allow me to introduce someone who is not only passionate but deeply knowledgeable about this enchanting tradition, Ramya Srinidhi. Ramya is a storyteller in every sense of the word. Her passion for narratives that connect, inspire, and transport us to the other worlds is truly remarkable. Whether it's through her work in performance art, storytelling art, or her personal explorations of storytelling traditions, she has a way of transforming even the simplest tales into unforgettable experience. A brief about Ramya. Ramya Srinidhi is an acclaimed performance storyteller, actor, and educator. Known for her panache of animated and theatrical storytelling style, she has been trained in the ancient art of Japanese street storytelling, Kamishibai, and now coaches fellow artists. A gifted voiceover artist, puppeteer, and painter, she wrapped up her 15 years of HR corporate career to dedicate her to the art of storytelling. She is the founder of the Indian Kamishibai Association and co-founder at Katha Corner. She holds a master's degree in psychology. She is a member of Storytelling Association of California, board member of Youth Educators and Storytellers Group USA, associated with Scholastic India Limited Bangalore as a storyteller, member of Bangalore Storytelling Society, member of Federation of Asian Storytellers, member of National Storytelling Network USA, member of International Kanshibai Association of Japan. Her accomplishments include performance at Vizag Literature Festival November 2024, Mysore Literature Festival November 24, Kukuduku Fest Mumbai, Noida, Hyderabad 24-25, voiceover artist as, for Zero the Varsity Junior teaching financial concepts to children through stories, performed at Little Cloud Aha Children's Fest Rangashankara, Bangalore, teaching faculty associated with Innovation for the Art of Storytelling, training at Muthurangam College, Vellore, a Nanmuddalvan initiative by Tamil Nadu government. Pardon my pronunciation. Performed a little, teaching faculty associated. Yeah, I did that. Featured storyteller to the Auburn Winter Storytelling Festival. Storyteller at genre series at Storyteller Association of California. Featured workshop presenter at WKF World Kamishibai Foundation, Write Out Loud USA 2022. Storyteller at Bangalore Poetry Festival, Bangalore Literature Festival. Storyteller the monthly series at Ata Galata Bangalore. Performer at Bangalore Storytelling Festival 2019. Curator and storyteller under the Raintree Women's Cultural Festival. Narrative story at several festivals like Kireya Habba, Hasarlu Dala, Read Aloud Story Festival, Clay, Lil Folk Festival, etc. There are a lot more story sessions at over 30 schools across Bangalore and Mysore, corporate storytelling, HDFC and Adobe India, one best actor in state level drama festival, facilitated workshop, Bridges That Stories Build, Kyokan, learning the art of Kamishibai, presented stories at Kukuduku Fest at Gurugaon, Faridabad, Noida, Jaipur, Hyderabad, Bangalore 22-23, storytelling Happy Streets Festival by Times of India Group at Chennai 22-24, performed at Kalatma, Power of Art, a devised theatre production 2022, facilitated art of storytelling workshop for teachers at Edify School and Vaidehi School of Excellence 23, NPS Edify, facilitate Nisima, Beyond Boundaries, a performative story presentation on diversity, equity, inclusion for corporate like Interweave and Tesco Bangalore, Mercedes-Benz to Storytelling for Children at Happiest Minds, Bangalore facilitated storytelling sessions over 30 schools in Bangalore and Mysore, including prestigious institutions like the International School Bangalore, Vaidehi Institution, NPS, DPS, Aditi International, National Hillview Public School, Oak Ridge International School, Canadian International School, Excel Public School, Mysore. Her academic trainings are she has completed story therapy course by the World Storytelling Institute in 2022, underwent training in psychodrama from Omega Institute of Psychodrama, Boston, USA, 2009, personal storytelling course, Yes You Can, with Noah Baum, training in expressive art therapy from the Indian Institute of Psychodrama, Chennai, 2012, NLP practitioner course from One Flames at NLP Training and Coaching Institute, 2008, summer project on theatre sport, training from Bangalore Little Theatre, worked as N skills facilitator for the base Bangalore. So I think this talks a lot about her. I won't take much time. Beyond this, I'll hand it over to Ramya.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. So, good evening to all of you. My name is Ramya Srinidhi, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. Thank you, Geeta ma'am. Thank you, Lotus and Chrysanthemum. It's such a pleasure and honor to be here with such wonderful dignitaries who have joined this evening. So we are already, a little late setting it up. So let's dive right into today's presentation. So portable paper dreams, and yes, Kamishibai is a beautiful art form. So what is it? The how Kamishibai, the history, the evolution of Kamishibai. I will take you through a small presentation, and after that, I will be actually presenting stories to you. So that's how it's going to be. It's an immersive experience. Otherwise, I don't believe in just talking theory about Kamishibai unless you get a flavor, a feel of this form of storytelling. And I am extremely passionate about Kamishibai, with great respect to Japan, Japanese culture, and I'm very proud to say that I'm learning Japanese right now. So if I make some pronunciation mistakes in some Japanese words, kindly excuse me. Any questions, any thoughts that you have, you could definitely drop it in the chat, and we will take it later. Okay, so we'll go to the first slide. Yeah, you can just go ahead and click on the slide. You don't have to worry about the animation. Just get the whole thing up. Yeah. So Kamishibai is Kami and Shibai. It's made up of two words, meaning paper drama. It's a form of storytelling that combines a set of standard illustrated paper cards paired with scripted performance by the narrator. So that's what it means by paper drama. So there are story cards and the narrator performs these stories. The cards are illustrated in the front with the script on the back, right? So this, we will come back to it a little later. But yes, the stories, the entire text of the story in traditional Kamishibai cards are printed behind the illustrated card, and the storyteller narrates or reads it out, okay? So, some of the pictures that I have here is the two Kamishibai cards, the 5 estate owners, where you see that there's a picture in the front and the text is written in Japanese at the back. Yeah, the next slide, please. Okay. So what's beautiful about Kamishibai is this. Too many things. So when a Kamishibai storyteller begins the story, it is announced by clapping these wooden blocks. I'm just doing it very lightly here so that Google does not cut off it as noise. The audience would gather once they hear the performer clap the Shoshiki cards, sounding the beginning of the show. Storyteller often referred as Kamishibai no Oji-san, literally meaning Uncle Kamishibai, right? And the best narrators would incorporate hand gestures, various sound effects, some music into their performance when they start telling stories. Those who perform street Kamishibai would often carry their stages fixed on a bicycle. So this is something very interesting about Kamishibai, where the story cards, the box that you're seeing here is usually fixed onto a cycle, and the storyteller would move from one place to the other with this box. One village to the other, he would go park his cycle, probably on a street, in a field, and the Hyoshigi would announce the beginning or the entry of the Kamishibai storyteller. So what's interesting fact is, though I'm talking about Kamishibai as a storytelling art form, it did not start that way. Basically, Kamishibai was the storytellers, or the Kamishibai no Oji-san were candy sellers. So they would go from village to village selling candies. So their revenue would come from the candies that they sold. And what is something very beautiful that I learned is the children who bought the candies got to sit in the front row. Those who did not buy candies could still listen to stories, but they had to sit really far. You know, they had the end row seats, or they had to stand at the back and listen to stories. And there's also one interesting fact that I found is the Kamishibai storytellers would, of course, you know, once the candies were sold and how many ever candies, and then he would begin telling stories, and children would love it. They would sit with, you know, slurping the candy in their hand and immerse into this fantastic form of storytelling. So there would be walks, and he will start the story. Many times I have, I just read somewhere that the Kamishibai storyteller would most of the time stop the story at a cliffhanger. So he would say, and then they opened the door and I'll come back next week. So the children would be left, you know, craving for what happened next. What happened after he opened the door? And then he'll say, I'll come back next week, and then you buy more candies, and then I'll continue the story. So this is how Kamishibai storytellers were actually candy sellers. Next slide, please. Okay. So, yeah, this is about, you know, Ashin Asahi Shimba. Sorry for my pronunciation. Went to express that children are naturally very eager story listeners, with the ideal audience as Kamishibai provides just that. That was a publication in 1933, which you know, spoke about Kamishibai. And Kamishibai created a unified space where the performer and the audience breathe the same air seamlessly. So there is a beautiful term called kyokan, which is termed by the International Kamishibai Association of Japan. And they talk about a shared feeling, a shared experience between the storyteller and the audience. So that's what they say, that, you know, they breathe the same air seamlessly. They're all in a shared space between, you know, the storyteller, the story, and the audience. And it's called as kyokan. Kamishibai, of course, became popular largely because it did not preach the children. So there wasn't any, you know, moral of the story. This is how you need to do those kind of things, which, of course, they had to sit through, and teachers had to do that. But the Kamishibai storytelling was so much interesting and was so famous because it was not preachy. Yes, the goal was entertainment. Like I said, he wanted to sell more candy, so he would always come up with fun, interesting, probably ghost stories, which made the children go, wow, at the end of the story. Next slide, please. Okay. So this is about a wonderful person called Imai Yone. And yeah, she says that back in 1933, Tokyo, there were over 2,500 Kamishibai performers. So it was in the, you know, boomed then. They would perform on an average of 10 times a day to audiences, roughly 30 children. So one place after the other, they would pack, go to the next place, perform, go, pack and go to the next place. And her estimate for a gross audience number was 75,000 children daily, indicating that some watched more than one a day. Okay, in 1937, it was estimated that there were nearly 30,000 performers across Japan. And, the whooping numbers that they talked, that they would reach to so many children. And it became a very lucrative profession. Next slide, please. Okay, so that was just a small glimpse about Kamishibai that I shared with you. Of course, I'll take you through the cards and how the story was told, but this is just a small, a peek into the evolution of Kamishibai. So it says that, of course, it's not very linear, saying that this is what led to Kamishibai as a storytelling format, the art form. There were many things that was precursors to Kamishibai, which is in the current form, or the form that I am talking to you today about. So there's something called as itoki. Of course, picture storytelling is a Japanese tradition dating back to 11th century. Early examples include Buddhist monks explaining the story or scripture as they provided imaki, printed hand scrolls on the walls in painted picture halls. So they say that this was the very beginning of precursor to Kamishibai, which was called as itoki. And there are a lot of pictures with give evidences that the scrolls with pictures was used by Buddhist monks to tell stories from their different ways. Then there is utsushie, developed from the magic lantern introduced in the 18th century from Holland. It emerged from the tradition of storytelling with images accompanying music. So now it was not just images, there was music that was being accompanied. So performers often involved multiple skilled performers who would move the slide with a lot of, the flame lanterns at the back. Next slide, please. So here is just a small a drawing, a sketch of a small scale utsushie performance developed from magic lanterns introduced in 18th century. Performances involved multiple, like I said, with flame lanterns. Next slide, please. Yeah. So moving forward, now we're getting closer to the current form of Kamishibai was tachie, meaning stand-up pictures. It was believed to have been started by woodblock print by artist Shin-san, a disciple of the celebrated Japanese comedian. So this is considered to be the immediate precursor to Kamishibai and the puppet slide. So there are two pictures on the same puppet, and there's a quick movement flip that the artist storyteller does. Here is, I've just made a small, this was just something that was created by me just for the demonstration. So here you see a person, and immediately, the swap, and then you see the sword being drawn out, right? So this is how it would move. Yeah. So that was used, that motion was used to bring the stories alive, to make them more interesting and appealing to the audience. Next slide, please. So here's just an image for you how this particular style of storytelling was carried by the storyteller from one place to the other. And down you see is a box which contained the candies. Next slide, please. So this is, Kamishibai, what we see today was called Hirae, flat pictures. And the performers adjusted their methods and created flat illustrated cards to pull through their transportable theaters. So first performances of these appeared, as documented to way back in 1930s. Yeah, next slide, please. So I don't want to get into too many, details. Is the text of Kamishibai, of course, this vast, exhaustive material out there. There are different types of Kamishibai, and the most famous is what we all talk about is street Kamishibai, and the performer carrying, you can see the image there with the bicycle. A box is fixed, and it has compartments below which has multiple cards, and she would always put the card and start narrating the story. Typically, each story would have about 10 to 15 cards, and they're all hand printed. And of course, like I said, with notes at the back. Okay, so the source for a lot of material that I'm talking today comes from Hoover Institute of Library and Archives, and also a wonderful person called Tara McGowan, and all the books that she has written about Kamishibai classroom. Next slide, please. Okay, so here a quick glimpse of something that was a boom, was so famous, and there were so many Kamishibai storytellers, but unfortunately the advent of television, of course, initially, television was called as Denki Kamishibai or electric Kamishibai, but unfortunately television with sound, music and moving pictures was able to attract the children more, and slowly children stopped coming outside and watching Kamishibai performers, and they were more glued on to television. Almost, Kamishibai actually disappeared, they say, in Japan, and the artists took to manga and anime. However, the next slide, please. So the fact that I'm sitting here today in front of you to talk about this, and such a wonderful group of people have joined, is yes, revival of Kamishibai was made by librarians, storytellers, teachers, educators, and also something called as Tezukuri Kamishibai movement, which happens in Japan, which I understand is people get together, under trees in parks, and they all sit and illustrate Kamishibai cards together. So it's called handmade Kamishibai movement. Yeah, the next slide, please. Yes, so just a quick, about the jargons is, of course, this box is called as butai, and this clappers is called as hyoshigi. Yeah, that's the next slide, please. Yes. So that's about, you can stop the the slideshow now. We'll move on to performances and come back to the slide at the end. Yes, you can stop the presentation so that this box is more visible to the audience. Great. All right. Mukashi Mukashi, meaning once upon a time. Somewhere far away, begins the story that I am going to present now. Okay. So since it's a lecture demonstration, I will be stopping in between and talking about what are the techniques that I have used, or the Kamishibai storytelling uses here. But unlike if I'm doing Kamishibai itself as a performance, I would not, stop and give you all this inputs. I would just, go straight into the story. Okay. So like I said, what you see is a box, and usually there is some kind of a screen or a blank slide that is used in the beginning. And what I'm wearing right now is called as a happy coat, which of course I have, purchased it from the US. This is a happy coat which the storytelling performers, the Kamishibai storytelling performers, wear to just, bring the flavor of Japan into the story. So the first story that I'm telling you today is a folktale from Japan. So we will, listen to the story as it would be performed, and then get back to the details of what is unique or what is different in a Kamishibai performance versus a picture book or reading a picture. Okay. This story is called as Hats for the Jesus. Once upon a time, somewhere far away, there lived an old lady with her husband. They lived together in a small hut. They were not very rich. They did not have children of their own, but they were just happy. They always saw good things in everything, and they lived with lot of peace, joy, and happiness. Unfortunately, that is not enough to fill your stomach, isn't it? So the wife was very good at, what was she good at? Yes, she was good at weaving baskets. She would deftly weave these lovely baskets, and both of them sat and they wove baskets of straw. And the wife told the husband, why don't you go out and sell these hats? Sorry, I said baskets. I meant hats. Why don't you go and sell these hats? And with that, you can make some money. And with that, we can buy some food because there's nothing left at home. And now most of you who have visited Japan, you know that the weather can be extremes in Japan. And this was the time when it was snowing. So the old man agreed. He collected all those lovely hats and he went to the market. He bid goodbye to his wife and he went to the market to go and sell the hats and get some money and eventually get some food. He went and sat. He kept the hats next to him and sat and hats for sale, hats for sale, hats for sale. People passed by, but nobody seemed to be interested in buying those hats. He waited there and he called out, hats for sale, hats for sale. But nobody really came and bought any of the hats. Now it was getting a little dark. It was getting very cold. So the old man decided to just pack all those hats that he had not sold and started to walk home. Oh, wait. As he was walking back home slowly, what did he see there? On the street, he saw Jesus. Now the old man took a good look at these lovely Jesus that was there on that street. And there was snow on top of their head. So the old man decided, what do you think he did? Yes, he took the first straw and covered the head of the first Jesus. Ah, that's nice, he felt as he covered the head of the first Jesus that was standing there. And then the second, and then the third. That way he covered the heads of all the Jesus. However, there was one that was short. He did not have enough hats to cover all the Jesus. He quickly took out his scarf and he removed all the snow from the last Jesus. And there he had covered all the Jesus with the straw hats that his wife had given him. And he covered the last one with his blue scarf and he went back home. The wife opened the door. She was very happy to see that there was no straw hats on her husband's backpack. Oh, you have sold all of them, have you? She said. Let me get in. And then the husband and wife sat down and he narrated the entire story of how he was not able to sell any of the hats. So they just had some hot tea and they went to bed. And he told her how he had put the hats on the heads of all the Jesus. Well, the wife was not mad at him. She said, "You did a good job." But as they were sleeping, suddenly there was some noise outside the door. So the old couple slowly got up and they gently opened the door. Uh, what do you think they found outside? Well, to their surprise, the husband and wife found a beautiful basket filled with bread and fries and all kinds of food. They were surprised. They did not know anyone who would come and give them such lovely food at this time of the day. Well, as they looked up, they saw in the moonlight, walking across the snow, was not one, not two, 3, 4, 5, 6 Jesus. And they noticed that 5 of them had the straw hat, while the last one had a blue scarf. That is the end of my story. The end. Thank you so much for listening to this story. So like I said, this comes from the land of Japan. It's a folk tale. And if you noticed, the technique of Kamishibai that I want to talk here is in Kamishibai, it's almost called like, like you're directing your own movie. It's how you move the cards slowly from one end to the other, creating that suspense, right? And Kamishibai has a lot of scope for interaction. Like, what happened next? You can ask your audience, so who was outside and what happened? So that it gives that interaction, scope for interaction. And of course, the slow movement and revealing the cards, keeps that curiosity in your audience. Okay, moving forward, let's move to the next story. Okay. Another thing that Kamishibai storyteller does is having voice modulation and having conversations as they're showing the pictures. Of course, in Kamishibai, the main focus is the cards, the butai. So as you notice, if I was just telling stories, I would be in the entire screen. But here, if you see, the maximum importance is given to the box, to the cards, when the storyteller, of course, is present, is animating the story, but the main focus, the spotlight, is on the cards. Okay, so let's move on to the next story. This is a very beautiful story that I have. It's written by a wonderful person called Ramendra Kumar. I think he has joined the meeting here today. He is an author, an illustrator, and so this particular story is called as Boond, and it is published by NBT India. And the artwork for my Kamishibai stories is done by this wonderful person called as Srinidhi. Okay, so let's begin the story. Once upon a time, somewhere far away, not even on the land, there lived a tiny droplet of water, and her name was called as Boond. Boond was this absolutely enthusiastic, full of life, always jumping and juggling, and she lived high up there in the clouds. And then one day, little Boond went up to her, and whom did she go up to? She went straight to her grandfather, Grandpa Meg, and she said, Grandpa, I want to see the entire world. Can I go? Can I just take this journey, this adventure? And Grandpa Meg said, no way. It is too dangerous out there, and you're still a very tiny droplet. I don't think I can allow you. Like all young children, do you think Boone said, okay? Of course not. She said, please, 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 please. And Grandpa Meg had to agree. But he said, under one condition, you can go only if you're accompanied by your sister, Shabnam. Even better, I get to go with Shabnam. We get to take this adventure. La 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 la. Ah, that is Shabnam, and there is Boone. Both of them sat on this huge waterfall on top of the mountain where Grandpa Meg took them, and whoosh, they came down the waterfall. As they were beautifully sliding down this waterfall, which now was entering the river. The beautiful river now flowed through, meandered through this lovely forest. Boone and Shabnam, what did they see? They saw animals, birds, flowers, fruits. Oh, what a wonderful sight it was. This is so beautiful, sister, called out Boone. Yes, said Shabnam. Oh no. What's happening, sister? What's going on? What's going on? Called out Boone. As they continued, the river started to change color. People were washing clothes with detergent. Haisa, 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 kachaka, 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 machaka. And there, factories were leaving out all kinds of polluted water into the rivers. Oh, I can't breathe. Sister, what's happening? Why is this so dirty? I can't breathe here, called out Boone. Now Shabnam knew exactly what to do. But what do you think happened to Boone and Shabnam? Now they were getting into polluted waters and it was getting so difficult. But then quickly they hopped on to a boulder nearby, and the sun was shining bright at them. And they both evaporated and went straight to who was waiting for them. Of course, Grandpa Meg was worried, was concerned, and he was waiting to meet Boone and Shabnam. Grandpa, I can't tell you what all I saw there. What's happening to all the water, Grandpa? It's getting so polluted. It's so dirty. I couldn't even breathe there. Please do something, Grandpa. Boone called out. She pleaded. She begged for her grandpa to do something. What do you think the grandpa did? Have you also seen water which is being polluted? Have you ever thrown, visited some river and washed clothes in it or thrown trash in it? Now Boone was sad and she complained to Grandpa, and Grandpa collected all the clouds and he became a huge cloud and he spoke in a huge voice. All you people, you have been spoiling and dirtying the planet. I give you a warning. Stop this right now, or you will face the consequences. What do you think the people did? Did they listen to Grandpa Meg? Just a thunder. And they continued to do what they did, just as the way they were. being very careless, not conserving water, throwing, spilling, dirtying the water. Now, Grandpa Meg was getting very, very mad at them. And then he called out to all the clouds and he said, I hereby give you all orders, and you have to stop pouring out rain on this land. What do you think happened when there were no rains? All the clouds stopped. And there, as they watched, there was a drought. There was no water for people to drink. Soon the river started to dry up. Their animals died. The flowers dried up. The fruits dried up. There was nothing for people to drink. And then all of them now realized their mistakes. They looked out to the skies and said, please forgive us. We have learned our mistakes. We will promise to take care of the nature. We will be more careful. Now, what do you think Grandpa Meg did when all the people called out and requested him? And they said they understood their mistakes. What do you think Grandpa Meg did? Was he kind? Of course he was kind. And there was rain. Lots and lots of rain. And there was lots and lots of rain that showered on the land. Just like the way it's raining right now in my town, Bangalore. The summer heat is being cooled down by all the rain. And then what happened when there was rain? That brought a lot of joy back to the face of little Boone, who continued to sing and dance. And that is the end of my story. Thank you for listening. Okay, so this is a wonderful story called Boone. What I want to bring in here is, of course, if you have noticed, I continue to do the slow movement of the Kamishibai card, slowly revealing the cards. But this time you also saw me use some instruments and some music, right? Another thing that you noticed is I was putting the cards back into the box, right? So ideally, when Kamishibai stories are told, the story cards go back into the box, but at the same time, they can even be kept on the side, unless there is something, there is like the last card came back. The first card came back as the last card in my story. The Kamishibai storytellers put the card back into the box. Okay. And one more interesting thing here is Kamishibai has a lot of potential to be used in school. And this particular story can be used in the STEM education. You can talk about water conservation, pollution, water cycle. And the story also can be very, very interactive and done with children. And you can pause and you can bring in different concepts that you want to talk about. So thank you so much, Ramendra Kumar, for allowing us to use this story. So moving forward, I think we still have some more time. And please drop a message in the chat box if you're finding this interesting, if you want to be mesmerized by more stories. Okay, now I will bring in another concept here in Kamishibai, where so the set of story cards are usually put back into the butai like this by the Kamishibai storyteller, and every time the story begins and the story ends, you see that very diligently as a routine, as a practice, the door is open and shut, indicating the beginning and the end of the story. Now here for another story, and then we will get back to what is different in this story, what concept of Kamishibai and we are trying to bring it. Da, 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 da. Once upon a time, somewhere in the beautiful lands, there lived a lot of people in a village. Oh, they danced around the village day and night. Alyssa, 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 Alyssa. In that village, there lived a young boy with his mother. And the young boy always wanted a drum of his own so that he could also go and join the entire party in the night and go, Alyssa, 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 Alyssa. But his mother, well, she, he always wanted this beautiful drum for himself, which he wanted to play, but his mother could not really afford to get him a drum. So she said, my young boy, I will go to the market and sell the grains. If I get enough money, I will surely get you drums this time. Every time she never had enough money. So she set out to the market. Market was a very busy place. A lot of people from far and wide had come to sell their products. People were selling clothes, grains, and bullock carts were passing left and right. People were pounding floor. And the young boy's mother sat there and she also called out, grains for sale, fresh grains. Well, she was able to sell her grains, but she did not make enough money to buy. What did the young boy want? Yes, he wanted drums. So she did not have enough money to buy drums, but she got something for him instead. Can you guess what she bought? She bought him, yes, she bought him 2 sticks. She said, look, my son, I just have these 2 sticks. I couldn't get you the drums. So what do you think the boy did? Was he angry? Did he throw a tantrum? Not at all. He took those sticks and now he started playing those sticks on everything. He played on the wall. He played on the door. He played on the floor. He played on the plate and the drum. As he was happily playing on and he started playing just the sticks. He was walking in his village and somewhere outside a small hut, there was a lady. She was trying to start a fire because she wanted to cook some chapatis for dinner, but all she had was some wet sticks and it was not, the fire was not coming. What do you think the boy did? Did he just say, this is not my problem? He looked at that lady and said, would you like my sticks? I have some dry sticks. If you want, you can use them. She was so happy. She took those sticks and what do you think she gave him in return? Can you guess? She said, look, young boy, I don't have money with me, but I can give you some chapatis, of course. She gave the boy 2 yummy hot chapatis. It was piping hot and it was so yummy. And she packed it in a small cloth. And what did the boy do? He continued to walk. As he was walking in his village, he saw a lady who was selling pots and she had a child who was playing next to her and there was another one on the swing. The little one went, the boy was like, even I want to play the swing. Just then the child on the mother's lap went, whack. Oh my God. The mother did not know what to do and the child went Can you show me what the child did? She went, wah! Yes, she cried and cried and cried because she was hungry and the mother did not have enough money. She did not have enough food. So the boy said, you know what? I have 2 chapatis. Do you want to give it to the child? The mother was very happy. She gave it to the child and the child went yum, yum, yum. And was she happy? Now the mother said, look, young man, I don't have any money, but I can give you. What do you think she gave? Can you guess? Of course. She gave him a fork. So, he continued to tap on the pot, and as he continued to walk, what did the boy see? There, at the village well, there was a lady who was drawing water from the well. Because she belonged to the washerman community. So they were sitting there and washing the clothes. She flicked her hand and the pot that she had broke into 2. No, she did not have a pot where she could fill water and wash the clothes. What do you think the boy did? He said, hello, I have a pot with me. If you want, you can use this. This may come in handy for you. Ah, boy, were they delighted. So they took the pot and they looked around. They said, what do we give you in return? If we don't have money, I'm sure I don't want to give money to this little boy. What do you think they gave him in return? Can you guess? What is it? Of course, a coat. A nice warm coat. The boy was so delighted. They said, we have a coat. You can take this. And the boy took that coat and went and there he was passing by the beautiful fields. They were lovely paddy fields. And there was a beautiful river with fishes swimming in it. Na, 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 na. As he was seeing this beautiful river, suddenly he saw an old man who was walking with a horse. It was feeling cold, it was getting very cloudy, and any time maybe it would rain. So the boy went to the old man, gave him the coat. He said, old man, why don't you take this coat? And what did the old man give in return? Can you guess what the old man gave in return? What is it? It is a horse. What did the boy do with the horse? Well, he was just happy and he took the horse and went. Just then, there was a wedding party. There was a wedding procession with the beautiful groom dressed in a lovely red veil, sitting in a palanquin. But the groom seemed to be very annoyed. He said, where is my horse? I am not going to the wedding without my horse. I want a horse. He demanded. And the groom's father, the bride's father, was like, I don't know what I do. Where do I get a horse now? Just then the boy who was walking by said, don't worry, here you go, take this horse. All was well. And the groom was extremely happy. He sort of sat on the horse and but now he had to give something in return, right? So there was a wedding party with lots of musical instruments. So they gave the boy a drum. And the boy was so happy that he got his drum. He joined all his friends that evening and they went. That is the end of my story. called The Boy and the Drum. This is a folk tale from India. Thank you so much for listening to this story. Another concept that I have this, all the artwork is done by me. I have tried to integrate Kamishibai with an indigenous Indian art form. It comes from Varli, which is a tribal and Adivasi community, and their art form, which you see very, very simplistic, right? Just a couple of stick figures. I'm sure all of you are very familiar with Varli. So what I was trying to explore is Kamishibai does not always have to be big, huge, colorful pictures. It can also be very simplistic, and we can also integrate Indian art forms. So when I do this story, I talk about Varli to children. We explore different art forms from India, which we can integrate into Kamishibai. Okay, now I think we are at 7:06. Ma'am, can you tell me how much time is left so I can probably do another story very quickly, or we can sum it up and have it another?
You can take your time, please.
So there is time. The audience is enjoying the stories, I hope.
By the number of emoji reactions you got, for the first time, I'm seeing how many they went one about the other, one about the other, encouraging you in your storytelling. So I think you can go ahead now.
Oh, thank you. All right. So now we will explore another story. And again, okay. So this is another fun story that I love to tell. And we will explore another aspect of Kamishibai with this story. Okay. So what do we always do? Mukashi, Mukashi. Meaning, once upon a time, somewhere far away, there lived a very, very, very grumpy king. He was an extremely grumpy king. He was very strong, he was powerful, he took care of all his people, but nobody knew why he was so grumpy. Meaning, he was always angry. He always had a very angry face. Sorry. Okay, and he was a very grumpy, angry king, and nobody knew why he was like this. But they only knew one thing. Every time, can you guess who that is? Every time a barber went to cut the king's hair, throw him to the dungeons. Throw him to the dungeons was the order every time a barber went to cut the king's hair. And he would be thrown into the deep, dark dungeons. Now, nobody knew what was in this deep, dark dungeon, but everybody was scared. You know what? The barber who went to cut the king's hair was thrown into the dungeon. And in that dungeon lived people came up with all kinds of stories. And they thought in that dungeon lived a very, very, a very, very scary looking monster. Now they also thought in that so this monster, oh, this is how it was supposed to be. Unfortunately, it fell off. Okay. We all thought that this in the deep, dark dungeon lived a very scary monster. Everybody was scared of, even talking to this king or even asking why he was always so angry and grumpy. But in that same kingdom lived a young boy, and his name was Zulfuddin. And like many of young children, when they want to grow up, they want to become doctors, teachers, pilots, singers, football players, cricket players. If this young boy wanted to become, can you guess what he wanted to become? He wanted to become a barber, a hairdresser. Nahi! Nahi, beta, nahi. Cried his mother, who held on to him and it said, no, no, please. You become anything you want to become, but not a hairdresser. She cried. But no, he had decided that he is going to only become a barber. Because the mother was worried, because she thought, in case the king called this little boy into his court to cut his hair, what would happen? Yes, he would throw his only son into deep, dark dungeons. She was really worried. But her worst fear was realized. There was a knock on the door. And as she opened the door, what did she see? There were the king's men who ordered, your son has to come to the court the following Sunday. He has to come and cut the king's hair. That's the order. What do you think the mother did? She went and ran straight to the palace. And what did she do? She cried and cried and cried right under the king's room in that palace. She cried and cried for day and night and night and day. Just then, she didn't stop. The guards came and asked her, what is going on? Stop the crying. Do you think she stopped? Nah, she continued to cry. And more guards came. Do you think she stopped? No, she continued to cry. Finally, the king had to come himself. What's going on? But when the king came, do you think she stopped to cry? No! She continued to cry. Now the king said, will you stop crying? What's happening? Why are you crying in front of my palace day and night? So she said, you have called my son to cut your hair the following Sunday, and you're going to throw my only son into deep, dark dungeons. Well, the king had had enough, and she said, if you put him to the dungeons, I will only come here and cry more. He said, all right, your son has to keep up a secret. Whatever he sees in the palace, zip it. He is not supposed to tell this to anyone. Oh, no problem, said the lady, and she promised the king that her son will not say anything that he saw in the palace to anyone. So that was the next Sunday, and the boy Zulfuddin went to King's court. As he was cutting the king's hair, the young boy saw something which he was not sure if he should have seen it. Now, that secret was in his stomach. The stomach was getting bigger and bigger, and he was falling sick. Oh no, he said. And then his all-knowing mother took him to her doctor, Keith. And the doctor said, don't worry, I know your problem. Go and tell the secret that is in your stomach into the hollow of a tree. All your problems will be solved. And the boy did just that. He ran into the forest and he saw a tree, and there the tree had a big hollow. And what did the boy do? He poured out all the story into the hollow of that tree. And from that day onwards, he lived happily for another 2 days. And when it was King's birthday, there was celebrations, and people from far and wide had come to celebrate the King's birthday party. Of course, chefs came who made sweets and savories and all kinds of yummy stuff. And there were dancers, artists, painters, musicians. And there was one particular musician who came all the way from Russia, but he had forgotten his drums. What to do now that he had already come to this country to play? He did not have the drums. So he said, no problem, I have come in early, there's still some more time left. I will go to the forest, get a perfect piece of wood, and I'm going to make a drum myself. What did he do? He came to the forest. He saw a tree, and there he cut a nice piece of wood from this tree. And then what did he do? He shaped it into a nice drum, and it was all set. It was the king's birthday, and people from far and wide had come. The entire kingdom had gathered to be a part of the celebration. What yummy food! There were gulab jamun, there were rasgullas, and all kinds of savories and sweets. And now everybody sat down for the most awaited musical presentation by the musician from, yes, Russia. Ready? What kind of a sound is this? Never mind. The king, the king, the king has a donkey's ears, the king has a donkey's ears, the king has a donkey's ears. What? Sorry, some problem. It's not tuned properly. Let me begin from the top. The king has a donkey's ears. The king has a donkey's ears. What did you say? What did you say? No, the king was angry. His eyes were blood red. He said, "What did you say?" I said, "Hujoor, my lord, I don't know what's happening. I don't know why he's singing. The king has a donkey's ears. The king has a donkey's ears." Just then the king got up, and suddenly, as soon as the king got up, his turban fell down, and there the king indeed had donkey's ears. Can you believe that? Now the king was, my turban, my turban, my turban. Somebody from the corner looked up and said, "Oh, nice. It's looking good." One person from the corner said, "Donkey's ears, so funny." One more person from the corner said, "Oh, is this a new fashion? Will my wife also ask me to grow donkey's ears now? What is happening? Donkey's ears, monkey tail." And the king looked around, and people were like, so the music is over, what next? The king was like, for the first time ever in his life, was without the turban. He felt. He did not feel anything. He was so happy. None of his people were making fun of him. All these years, that was the secret that he was holding on to, and he thought if people knew it, they'll make fun of him, they will not respect him. But no, people loved him the way he was. People respected him because he was a kind king, he was taking care of them. So nothing really changed. They were just like, nice donkey's ears, whatever. And from that day onwards, the king had finally got rid of his heavy turban that he would wear all the time on his head in summer heat, in cold, just to protect his donkey's ear. Was finally gone. He was so happy to flaunt his donkey's ears wherever he went. What do you think happened to the young boys with Fuddin? Well, the young boy was now proclaimed the barber of the kingdom. And he was given a gold medal, and boy, was there celebrations in the kingdom. And what happened to all the barbers who were earlier being punished? This young man said, "Huzoor, can you please let them all out now that we all know why they were thrown to the dungeon?" And the king ordered the release of all the barbers. And from that day onwards, the king flaunted his donkey's ears and lived happily ever after in his kingdom. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. So here in this Kamishibai, of course, I talk about using trick cards. So you saw the eyes being rolled. You saw the turban falling down, revealing the cards. So in Kamishibai, the sky is the limit. There are n number of things that you can do. Time is a constraint. Maybe some other time I can share more stories. I've also got Indian mythological stories. I have Ramayana, I have stories from Mahabharata, the stories of Chidambaram, which have been illustrated And even these stories can be told in Kamishibai style. So this was, a very small nutshell, because 1 hour is just not enough to bring in the ocean of this wonderful art form called Kamishibai and the wonderful things that you can do with it. So that's about it. I think no need to bring back the presentation, or can you just play back the presentation really quickly, just very quickly? I just
We'll do that. We'll do that in a while. Take the questions also.
Oh, there are questions. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and more than questions, I think there is notes of appreciation. And after my overview and wrap up, so for the first time, I'm seeing emoji reactions from the audience coming one after the other. I was first surprised, from where is it coming? I thought it was a part of your storytelling. You're doing something with this thing. But then I realized it is our own audience who is sending you all those love emojis, the clapping emojis. It is just like a rainfall that is happening outside my home now. And that is the power of storytelling. You have brought the rains to Bangalore, cooling
Yes,
the
power of
torrid summer, the
storytelling.
heat that we have been having for so many days. So that is the same effect of storytelling. The warmth, the cooling effect, the aha moment when you really enjoy. You get into the mold of being a child once again. At least I was taken back to my childhood days, wherein listening to stories was something we would look forward to. And my useless mama, he would tell all bunkum stories which we used to hang on to him. And every evening he would threaten us, you must give me this, you must do that, you must. And now we realize how he took us for a ride. He would simply weave and weave and weave stories. And that is the power of storytelling. All 7 or 8 nieces and nephews, we would sit around him waiting for Ashok Mama to come and tell the story at 7 o'clock sharp. For 1 hour, we would be on our best behavior. So I think it is the same effect that we had today with this power of storytelling. And very beautifully, what I would like to say that it was an excellent exposition to the Kamishibai art of storytelling, where we got a flavor of the Japanese folk culture. This form of paper drama, which combines illustrated paper cards and also a narrative performance, has parallels in the Indian Kavad and the Chitrakati paper performances. These are all forgotten art forms, and the artists are struggling. So just like Kamishibai, which was very popular till about the 13th century, and then went away for some reason, and then again did a small appearance, and again went away due to TV coming into forth. But still, the Japanese have able to revive it, and far away in India, in a place in Bangalore, in JP Nagar, there is a lady who is doing this Kamishibai stories. So why not we revive our Kavad and Chitrakati and similar Patachitra, similar form of storytelling? Why don't we do it? Why don't we bring in? And these stories, all these 4 stories had a happy ending. That is what life is all about. There are unhappy moments, no doubt, trying moments. But in the end, it is how we take it, the happiness that it brings, that really makes or mars your life. It was a very interesting session, Ramya. I never thought it will be this very an interesting session on Kamishibai. And the artist has not only to be a good storyteller with expressions, drama, theater, know these stories well, and then draw the pictures also. So there is eye, mouth, hand coordination. And that is very difficult. Nowadays, to focus all 3 in one line is very difficult. And you have done a wonderful job of it. And you look very good in your Japanese outfit. And with these few words, I once again thank you for coming to the LCT forum and giving us insights into this form of Japanese storytelling. So I request Manali to please give your take, and then the suggestions or appreciation in the chat box, and we throw it open for another 15-20 minutes to the audience to interact with the storyteller herself. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. Actually, I have never ever seen something like this. So this is something very new for me, very novel experience, and it is very effective. I think we had this discussion yesterday when we were in our course on destination heritage, that storytelling is a much better way of teaching children something than just telling them to do something or not to do something. If you tell them a story, they will remember it forever. And I'm going to remember this forever. So thank you for giving me this wonderful experience. And yes, I would like to read out the messages which have been written here in the chat. Shreyashi Chaudhary ma'am has written, very interesting topic. I can relate to Patachitra painting of Bengal, where the scroll painters would go to the villages, and I think she has continued it later on. 1 second. The Patachitra painters would sing about folklore and current affairs simultaneously. So she has written that. And Mukta ji has written, excellent. Thanks for the beautiful explanation of the art and science of this storytelling. I almost licked on an imaginary candy. Beautiful choice of words, ma'am. Murthy ji has written, very good presentation with beautiful illustrations and nice way of narration. Interesting to see unique traditional storytelling by the speaker. Understand that it's valuable cultural heritage, which is a blend of many arts. Indeed. And Vinod Kaulji has written, lovely story narration and beautiful illustrations, fantastic presentation. Ratna ji has written, nice narration. Nice narration, your voice pitch, intonation, facial expressions are so wonderful. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session. Shu Ying San has written, thank you so much. It was such a lovely presentation with such an amazing storytelling skill, especially with your nuances in making the story alive while making it interesting at the same time, captivating the audience. And that is true. We were all so captivated. And the voice intonations and the sound effect that you were giving, that was awesome. Ratna ji has also written, enjoyed the evening after a long time. And Vinod Kaulji has again written, very, very expressive. No surprise that you have won the drama award too. So these are all the wonderful messages written by our members who have joined us today. And if anybody wants to ask something or add something, I think we can do that now.
Here I would like to say, Ramya, that we have had two authenticate Japanese, and they have given their appreciation. Goes to show that you have really mastered the art of not plain storytelling, but of the Kamishibai variety also. So we have had two Japanese, one Russian, one excellency, and others from the field of architecture, teaching personnel, all of them in one line or the other associated with entrepreneurship and other things. And it is and folklore, folk culture, and people in other industries also. So it is really very heartening that you have captured the hearts of all these different categories of people. So I'm very interested. Maybe we can have a tie-up on the Destination Heritage platform, wherein we bring the Indian stories alive during some festival or so. And maybe a performance of this Kamishibai as a part of the LCT, with Mr. Ravindran also to be a part of it and have a performance show and an offline show. I think we can think of having it sometime next month or the month after.
Certainly.
Excellent. Wonderful, Ramya.
Thank you so much, ma'am. My pleasure and honor to be here. So I would say thank you for giving me this opportunity, this stage. And like I said, I'm extremely passionate about storytelling, about this art form itself. And I'm so happy to be here amongst all of you. And thank you for the wonderful words, everyone. Thank you very much.
It's very obvious. And in return, the bouquet of appreciation that you have received is in a way a storytelling from the audience.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to ask something. So, do you think that Kamishibai's tactile analog quality? So this is it is an analog screen. Is it a silent rebellion against our modern screen addiction that we have, most of us? So could this be used to counter that?
Like I said in my presentation, it lost its battle to the screen. So I think now it's coming back to fight and get back the audience and attention, right? But yes, to answer your question, I think it should be. I encourage a lot of children to listen to stories, and I encourage, when I do storytelling with children, I encourage them to draw pictures of the story. So that's illustrating. And I tell them there is no, you don't have to be a master illustrator. Sit down, illustrate the pictures, make your own pictures for stories. So that encourages their creativity, and definitely better than exposing children to, just give a laptop and let them listen to the story or watching screens all the time. This is a beautiful art form. Like I said, stories come alive through pictures, and the pictures come alive through the storyteller, because you bring narration, you bring voice modulation. So it's such a holistic experience for the child. I mean, the audience itself. I think all of us ended up being children listening to the story. So yes, it should be.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I was also going to ask whether we can use Kamishibai storytelling for adults, or whether it is always settled with children and candy. But I think the way you have captivated all of us adults here, the question has answered itself.
Yeah, we are all hardwired for stories, if you look at it, right? So the first half my job is done because there is a story and not a boring presentation, right? So we're all hardwired for stories. So there's no restriction that it's only for children, it's for everyone. But the stories that you use can be different. I have told stories of refugees for adult audience. For teenagers, there is a different kind of story. Today, I think I was just bringing a different variety of stories to see different things that you can do with Kamishibai.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It is wonderful to see that just in the limited 10 to 15 cards, how much the responsibility is so much more on the storyteller than on the illustrations. Because in the span of just 10 to 15 cards, you have to convey so much emotion and so many nuances and so much. So I think that's something to, it can't be learned by everybody. It can't be done by everybody. Thank you so much, ma'am.
What I want to bring in here is when you do storyboarding for Kamishibai, it is very different. I literally sit with the artist if I'm getting it done from an artist, and storyboard according to the way I want to open the cards. If you notice, if I'm talking about a droplet traveling, the travel should be here, and then the image of the tree should be here for the way I open and reveal the story. So storyboarding or illustrating for Kamishibai is very different, and it is done with the artist. Unlike, if the storyteller herself or himself is the artist, so we know how to storyboard. If you're getting it done from somebody else, you sit and it's a joint process, and yes, there's a lot of responsibility on the storyteller to bring it alive. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Anybody else, if you want to say something or ask something, please unmute yourself and ask. I think there is no other questions. Ma'am, do you want me to put on the PPT? Just play the PPT, the last part.
And no, not really.
Okay.
So on
But
that,
I just want to emphasize that I'm a founder of the Indian Kamishibai Association. Do look us up on the social media, Instagram, Facebook, where there is a page. There's a lot of work that's happening. I do take courses on Kamishibai, so there's a lot of people who have, we have over 300 members online, and Indian Kamishibai Association itself There's a group of about 70 kids strong who are, being mesmerized by this art form. They want to try. They want to try different art forms, different stories. They want to integrate different styles into this. So that is the wonderful work that we do. Yeah, that's enough.
I think Muktaji wants to say something.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to know, is that frame through which you are showing us the illustrations, is it commercially available for anyone to, procure and do their own art within?
Yes, ma'am. Of course, if you look at it globally in the West, there are many places where you can buy the butai, buy the cards. In India, of course, I had sat down with a carpenter and I procured my box from the US. My brother got it to me, and then I sat down with a carpenter because I wanted to make it available for Indian storytellers who want to try this art form. And the cards are also available. Some of the cards have been illustrated by Indian Kamishibai Association and printed. So they are available for you to take and try your hand out, in this form of storytelling. Yes, they are available in India. It's available with me, but I'm sure out of globally there are many places you can find online.
Thank you so much, ma'am. There's one message in the chat box. This is a one Nalin Creations has written. This is a wonderful session.
The louder
Truly
disturbance,
I'm sorry. This is a wonderful session. Truly enjoyed it. How can I reach out for more sessions? That is the question.
How can you have more sessions? Is that what you said? Okay. Definitely, there is. Do look as Ramya Srinidhi, and I am also the founder of Kata Corner, where I do storytelling and theatre workshops for children. And on May 17th, we are doing the storytelling, Kamishibai storytelling at Ata Galata in Indranagar in Bangalore. This format, and then we are also having a workshop, like a training workshop for teachers and educators on the nuances of Kamishibai. What we saw was just a presentation, but if I was doing the same session for a set of teachers who were interested, then I would be teaching them how to move the cards, how to stand, how to, where to stand, how to look at the cards when you're telling the story. So there's so many nuances that we do. So there are multiple things, presentations, workshops.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
So on that note, it was very interesting to slip into the role of children, but now it's time to come back to reality, to say goodbye to all our listeners and who have so very enthusiastically participated, at least by sending the emojis. That was very interesting. It really tickled me, I was thinking it was coming from your end, raining, but to see it is from our audience. So that really was a very interesting part. So I'm glad that all of you became a part of her storytelling, got immersed in her wound and hats and dungeon and tree and all that. It was very fascinating. Thank you so much for your participation, and we hope we'll again meet next month as soon as possible. Shubharatri, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Geeta ma'am, for this opportunity. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you, Ramya.